Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're going to be exploring this piece called Chasing the Feeling.
Oh, yeah. I read that one.
It's really interesting. It's like a personal reflection,
Yeah?
about how to find that like real lasting fulfillment.
Yeah.
And the source looks at some pretty fascinating ideas,
hmm
things like flow states, authenticity, and goal setting.
Yeah, the goal setting part was good.
But, we're not just going to like scratch the surface here.
Right.
We're going to dig deep, really pull out the practical stuff,
I like it.
the stuff you can actually use to like, level up your life.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Ready to get started.
Absolutely. You know what really struck me about chasing the feeling?
What's that?
It doesn't just like define these concepts. It actually connects them in this like really powerful way.
Oh, interesting.
It's like flow, authenticity, goal setting. They're all pieces of a map or something.
Ooh, a treasure map.
Yeah. Guidance toward a more fulfilling life.
I love that analogy. And I gotta say, the part about flow states really hooked me.
Yeah, yeah.
The source gives this awesome example. Like an artist,
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
totally lost in their work.
Completely oblivious.
Yeah, it's like they're in pure bliss, totally absorbed in what they're doing.
That's flow, man. It's powerful stuff.
Have you ever felt that way?
Oh, absolutely.
Mm.
Tons of times. It's like you tap into this like inner motivation,
Yeah, yeah,
you know, the stuff you do just because you love it.
exactly.
And you know what?
What?
The source takes it even further.
Okay.
It suggests that achieving flow,
Yeah.
it's not about like chance
It's
encounters.
not.
No, it's about like intentionally designing your life
Oh, wow.
to create more of those like magical moments.
So you're saying we can actually create flow.
That's what it's saying.
Okay, so how do we do that?
Well, the source mentions something about finding this like sweet spot
Sweet spot. Okay.
where the challenge of like an activity,
Yeah.
aligns perfectly with your skill level.
So it's like a balance.
Exactly. It's like this delicate balance between boredom and overwhelm.
Ooh, that makes sense.
Like, think about it.
Okay.
If something's too easy, you get bored, right?
Yeah, you lose interest
But if it's like way too hard, you just get frustrated.
and give up. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Flow happens in that zone where your skills are, stretched just enough
Just enough.
to keep you like engaged and motivated.
Okay, I get it. So how do we find those activities?
Yeah, the ones that like hit that sweet spot for us.
Yeah, the flow triggers. I feel like the source like hinted at some strategies,
Yeah,
but it didn't really spell them out.
you're right. You're right. That's where things get really interesting.
Oh, okay, tell me more.
The source says, think about the things you're naturally drawn to.
Okay. Yeah.
The stuff you do where time just seems to fly by.
Oh, yeah, like what?
Could be anything. Play music, gardening, deep conversations.
I love a good deep conversation.
Right. The key is to analyze those activities.
Yeah.
Ask yourself,
What kind of questions?
like, what makes me lose track of time?
Mm.
What skills am I using?
Mm.
And, how can I adjust the challenge level to keep that flow going?
Ooh, to keep the flow going. I'm already starting to see how this could apply to like so many areas of life.
Right.
But, okay, let's shift gears for a minute.
Okay, sure.
I want to talk about what the source says about authenticity.
Okay.
Honestly, at first I thought it was just going to be that whole be true to yourself thing,
Yeah.
which, sounds great in theory,
Always does.
but it's kind of vague in practice.
For sure.
But this source actually gives us something much more concrete.
Really.
Yeah, it talks about aligning your actions, the things you do in the world,
Mhm.
with your internal values and beliefs.
Oh, that's good.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's not just about what you believe.
It's about action.
Yeah, it's about actually living it out.
I like it.
I do too.
Yeah.
And the source calls this internal external alignment.
Catchy.
And the example it gives is so relatable. Like imagine this.
Right.
You've got this naturally creative person,
Uh-huh.
but they're stuck in like this rigid corporate job.
Ouch.
Right. They're constantly suppressing their true self,
Yeah.
just trying to fit into this mold that,
Yeah.
it just doesn't resonate with who they are.
Totally.
That's got to be a recipe for feeling trapped and unfulfilled.
Big time.
Right.
Yeah.
That example really hit home for me.
Me too.
But the source doesn't just point out the problem, does it?
No, it's got solutions too.
It offers solutions, right?
Mhm.
I remember something about embracing discomfort
Discomfort.
as a catalyst for growth or something like that.
Absolutely. The source makes this really important distinction
Okay.
between discomfort that helps you grow
Yeah.
and recklessness, which can
Mm.
be,
bad.
Yeah, it's not about just throwing caution to the wind. It's about intentionally stepping outside your comfort zone
Yeah.
in ways that,
Yeah.
align with your values and move you closer to that internal-external alignment.
Okay. That makes sense. I think that's a really important point,
Yeah.
especially for our listeners.
Right. They're all about growth.
Yeah. They're all about, like, expanding their knowledge and growing as individuals. But how do we know if that discomfort is actually leading us in the right direction?
That is a great question.
Yeah.
And it's something that the source actually digs into even deeper in the next section.
Ooh, a cliffhanger.
We'll explore how to, identify those red flags.
Okay.
The ones that tell you might be pushing yourself too far.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll look at some strategies for, navigating discomfort in a way that promotes growth rather than burnout.
Okay. I'm excited for that. So before we dive into that,
Yeah.
let's just recap what we've learned so far about flow states and authenticity.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah.
So we've discovered that flow, right? It's about finding that sweet spot where your skills and the challenge level are,
Perfectly aligned.
Yeah. And that allows you to fully immerse yourself in the moment.
To really be present.
Yeah, exactly.
And then authenticity, at least according to this source, it's about making sure your actions out in the world
Yeah.
are in harmony with your inner values and beliefs.
Inner harmony.
Yeah, even if that means embracing some discomfort
Right.
and challenging those old patterns that might be holding us back.
Love it.
I'm already feeling inspired.
Me too.
But now I'm really curious to hear what the source has to say about goal setting. Is there a specific way to set goals that actually lead to that, deep sense of fulfillment we're all chasing?
Oh, absolutely. And the source's perspective on goal setting might actually surprise you.
Ooh, another cliffhanger.
Stay tuned. We'll uncover those hidden gems in just a moment. Welcome back. Before the break, we were just about to get into the source's take on goal setting.
Yes. And to be honest, I'm a little skeptical.
Oh, why is that?
Well, I mean, everyone sets goals, right? New Year's resolutions, career stuff, fitness goals.
Yeah, for sure.
It's like we're bombarded with this idea of goal setting.
That's true.
But are we setting the right kinds of goals?
That's the question, isn't it?
The kind that actually lead to, lasting happiness.
Exactly. And the source really challenges us to think differently about why we set goals in the first place.
Okay, I'm listening.
It digs into this distinction between intrinsic and extrinsic goals.
Oh, yeah, intrinsic versus extrinsic. Remind me what the difference is again.
Sure. Think of it this way. Intrinsic goals, they come from within.
Okay.
They're driven by a genuine desire for personal growth, knowledge or skill development.
So learning a new language because you're fascinated by the culture?
Exactly. Not just to impress potential clients or something.
Ah, got it. So it's about the joy of the activity itself.
Yes. Not the external rewards or validation.
So extrinsic goals would be more like, I don't know, getting a promotion to earn more money.
Yeah, or buying a fancy car to impress the neighbors.
Okay, so the classic status symbols.
Exactly. And there's nothing wrong with those kinds of goals per se.
Right.
They can provide structure, motivation even.
Yeah, true.
But the source really argues that it's the intrinsic goals, the ones aligned with your core values, your passions.
Those are the ones that matter.
Yes, those are the ones that fuel lasting fulfillment.
But here's the thing. It feels like the whole world is pushing us toward extrinsic goals.
Yeah.
Bigger house, better title, more followers on social media.
Oh, I know. It's so easy to get caught up in that chase.
It is. So how do we resist that?
That's where it gets tricky, right?
Yeah.
The source acknowledges that tension,
Yeah.
between societal pressure and your own inner compass.
I feel that.
It even tells this personal story
Oh.
about struggling with that very dilemma, feeling pressured to pursue a traditional career path.
Even though they wanted something else.
Yeah. Even though there was this burning passion for something completely different.
Wow, that's so relatable. So what did they do? Did they give in and follow expectations? Or
Well, that's where things take this interesting turn.
Okay.
The source doesn't offer a simple solution.
No easy answers.
No, it's not black and white. Instead, it talks about finding a balance.
Wait, hold on. Are you saying we can have both? Pursue our passions and still achieve those external markers of success?
That's what it's suggesting. It's not about compartmentalizing. It's about finding a way for your extrinsic goals to serve your intrinsic ones.
So they work together.
Exactly. The source uses great analogy. It talks about stepping stones.
Stepping stones, okay.
Sometimes those external goals, like getting a stable job,
Yeah.
building financial security,
Yeah.
those things can actually give you the foundation you need to pursue your true passions later on.
So it's like those external goals can be stepping stones to something deeper.
Exactly.
Okay, I can see that. But it still sounds like a tricky balancing act.
It is. It is.
How do we make sure we don't let the extrinsic goals take over?
Right, and lose sight of what truly matters.
Yeah.
Well, that's where the real work comes in. The source emphasizes self-awareness and constant reflection.
Self-reflection.
Yeah. It's about regularly checking in with yourself.
Asking yourself tough questions.
Exactly. Like, are the goals I'm chasing actually bringing me closer to a life that feels authentic and fulfilling? Or am I just going through the motions?
Chasing someone else's definition of success.
Yes. Those are the questions.
Wow, those are tough.
They are. But that's the point, right? Personal growth isn't always easy.
No pain, no gain.
Something like that.
Yeah.
But the source reminds us that the journey itself is just as important.
Maybe even more important.
Yeah. It's about finding joy in the process of learning, growing, becoming more aligned with your true self.
I love that. It takes the pressure off.
Right. You don't have to have everything figured out right this second.
Exactly. It's a process of continuous discovery and adjustment.
Well said. And speaking of the journey, the source also gets into something that I found really resonated with me.
Oh, yeah. What's that?
Embracing discomfort as a catalyst for growth.
Oh, discomfort. We were
Yeah.
talking about that earlier.
We were that
Yeah.
fine line between helpful and harmful discomfort.
Right. Right.
Well, get ready to dive deeper because the source offers some really insightful strategies for navigating discomfort in a way that leads to real transformation.
Welcome back to the deep dive. We're wrapping up our exploration of chasing the feeling.
Yes.
And in this last part, I really want to talk about how we actually put all this into practice.
Yeah, the real world stuff.
Exactly. We've talked about flow, authenticity, setting the right kinds of goals.
Right.
But how do we make those things happen in our real lives?
Yeah, with all the pressures and distractions and everything.
Right. Like, how do we actually do it?
Well, that's where the source gets really practical.
Okay, good.
It offers tools and strategies,
Yeah,
to help us bridge that gap between theory and action.
I like it.
And it all starts with self-awareness,
Okay.
which the source describes as the foundation.
The foundation for everything.
Yeah.
For everything else.
Okay, but self-awareness sounds kind of, I don't know,
What do you mean?
passive. Like just sitting around thinking about our feelings.
I see what you're saying.
How does that actually lead to positive changes?
Well, that's where the source's perspective is so interesting. It reframes self-awareness as an active process.
Oh, okay.
It's about questioning, exploring, even experimenting.
So it's more than just thinking about it.
Yeah. It's about getting curious about your own internal landscape.
So like our values, our motivation.
Exactly. Even our fears.
Okay, so we're digging deep.
Hmm.
But the source also talks a lot about embracing discomfort,
It does, it does.
which seems kind of counterintuitive.
How so?
Well, we're talking about creating a more fulfilling life, right?
Right.
Shouldn't that feel good?
You'd think so, right.
Yeah.
But that's where things get really interesting.
The source digs into this idea that discomfort,
Yeah.
when approached intentionally,
Okay.
can actually be a catalyst for growth.
So not all discomfort is bad.
Exactly.
But how do we know if it's helpful or just unpleasant?
Right.
There's plenty of things I'd rather avoid altogether.
Of course, of course. And the source acknowledges that. It says, not all discomfort is created equal.
Okay, good.
It's about figuring out the difference between discomfort that pushes you outside your comfort zone in a good way.
Like what? Give me an example.
Like trying a new activity
Right.
or speaking up for what you believe in
Okay, yeah.
versus discomfort that's just harmful or unproductive.
Okay, so how do we tell the difference? Any red flags?
Yes, the source gives us a few questions to ask ourselves
Oh, I like questions.
when we're facing
Mm.
a potentially uncomfortable situation.
Hit me with them.
Okay, first,
Yeah?
is this discomfort aligned with my values?
Good question.
Second, is it likely to lead to personal growth or learning?
Makes sense.
And third, do I have the resources and support to navigate this challenge effectively?
Those are really good questions. It's like a discomfort compass or something.
Right. Helps you make those tough choices.
Exactly. Okay, so we've got our questions. What else?
Well, the source goes even further.
Okay.
It offers some concrete strategies for actually managing discomfort.
Oh, I like that.
Ah.
Practical tips.
Practical tips.
Uh.
For example, breaking down challenging tasks into smaller steps.
Okay, so make it manageable.
Exactly. Finding supported communities.
We're people.
Yeah. And celebrating those small wins along the way.
I love that. It's about approaching discomfort strategically,
Exactly.
not just jumping in blindly.
Right. But even with all these tools and strategies, there's still that question of courage, you know?
Yeah, it takes guts to challenge those norms.
It does. To pursue a life that's truly authentic, even if it means facing criticism or judgment.
That's scary.
It can be,
Yeah.
and the source acknowledges that. It says choosing authenticity often requires us to be brave.
To stand up for what we believe in.
Yes, to stand firm in our convictions, even when it feels uncomfortable.
But how do we find that courage? Is it something we're born with, or can we develop it?
That's a great question. And the source offers a really empowering perspective on this. It says courage isn't some innate quality.
So we're not all just born brave.
Right. It's a muscle that gets stronger with practice.
Oh, I like that. So the more we face our fears and act in line with our values,
The more courageous we become.
it's like a positive feedback loop.
Exact.
The more we do it, the easier it gets. Okay, so as we wrap up this deep dive,
Yeah.
what's the big takeaway? If there's one key message from chasing the feeling
One key message.
that our listeners can take with them,
Mhm.
what would it be?
I think it's this. True fulfillment.
Yeah.
It's an ongoing journey.
Not a destination.
No. It's about constantly exploring,
Yeah.
experimenting, refining our understanding of what truly brings us joy and meaning.
It's a process.
It is. It's about embracing discomfort as a catalyst for growth, cultivating the courage to be authentically ourselves, and finding ways to align our actions with our deepest values.
Beautifully said. And as the source reminds us, it's a journey that's well worth taking. So to our listeners, we encourage you to keep chasing that feeling. Keep asking questions. Keep challenging yourself.
Keep striving.
Yeah, keep striving to create a life that reflects the unique and wonderful individuals you are.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into chasing the feeling
We hope it sparks some new insights.
and inspired you to continue your own journey of personal growth and self-discovery.
We'll see you next time.